Hey, hunting family, you are tuning into the Tracks and Tackle podcast, brought to you by Menser Outdoors.
Hey there, hunting family. Welcome back to another exciting episode of Tracks and Tackle. Today we have a true outdoorsman with us, someone whose passion for hunting and conservation runs deep, OB Lambright. OB wears many hats in the hunting world and beyond, and we're thrilled to have him join us. Not only is he the vice president of the Arkansas Bowhunters Association, he's also a U.S. Navy veteran. Thank you for your service, OB. His adventurous spirit extends beyond the woods as a member of the National Cowboys Association and a two-time bull riding finalist qualifier in 96 and 97. OB knows what it means to embrace a challenge. But when it comes to archery, OB is a USA Archery Level 2 instructor, an IBEP and IVEP instructor, sharing his skills and knowledge with the next generation of hunters. And that's not all. He's also deeply involved in urban bow hunting and has honed a unique skill as a dog tracker and trainer, helping hunters recover their game efficiently and ethically. We're in for a great conversation today as we talk about the Arkansas Bowhunters Association, the ins and outs of urban hunting, and the art of dog tracking. So without further ado, let's get to it. All right. Hey, hunting family. Welcome back to Tracks and Tackle. Got with us our guest here today, OB Lambright from Arkansas at the Arkansas Bowhunters Association. And, OB, thanks for joining us today. I'll give you a minute here. Why don't you just tell our listeners a little bit about yourself, do an introduction. You can probably introduce better than what I can.
Cool deal, man. Yeah, my name's Otis Brian Lambright. Most of the bow hunters call me Otis. Pretty much my lifelong friends have called me Brian. I don't really care what anybody calls me, and it's sort of that deal, just don't call me late supper type deal. I've been called a lot of things in my life, so I don't think pretty much anybody's going to call me anything that will really offend me. But just like people, man. Grew up hunting, running rabbit dogs, and hunting squirrels and stuff with my dad, hunting and fishing with my dad, and moving to Arkansas, I got a chance at shooting some of those 3D tournaments to get in the Arkansas Bowhunters Association, sort of started hanging out with the guys, and position come up for vice president. I just wanted to be a field governor, and we'll get into that a little more as you ask me questions, but I wanted to be a field governor with the Arkansas Bowhunters Association, and the guys, Clarence is pretty much an icon board member, and he wanted me to, be vice president. So I did that a couple years. This is going to be my last year, and got a younger gung-ho guy named Alex Roll that will step into that position. And so I'm just going to probably be helping with the urban hunts next year, qualifications, that kind of stuff. But just a little bit about me. I, rode bulls for a number of years as a younger guy, and got put in a coma in 97, qualified for the finals in 96 and 97 in the NCA. And bull landed on my head in Georgia, put me in a coma, and
Good Lord,
pretty much the end of my cowboy days. God got a hold of me after that. So,
well, that's sometimes he does it. That's the way the Lord will do. Is He'll get our attention however he needs to do it, and sometimes it's drastic, and sometimes it's not. But glad that he got a hold of you.
Mom always said, it would take something drastic for me to live, to live for God, and he knows what it takes. I got put in a coma, was on life support and all that stuff, and that was sort of the turning point of my life. And but you fast forward years later, I'm here I am in archery, and a lot of really great things have happened. I got to meet some really awesome hunters. Got to meet Michael Waddell, got to meet Chris B. Taylor Chamberlain. Taylor Chamberlain Hunt Urban is his YouTube channel, and that's sort of where the interest came for urban archery and trying to get into that, and meeting the ABA, hanging out with these guys. We have about 6 heats we control the urban deer management on. I don't want to get ahead of us. I'll let you sort of lead the conversation, but
Sure.
ABA, I got to go up to the ATA Archery Trade Association. They got a big shindig every year. It was in Indianapolis in 2023. I got to go. It was in Missouri actually last year, which is closer to where I'm based out of now. I'm out of Sherwood, Arkansas, but I didn't get to make it last year. But anyway, like I say, I got to go meet Chris B., Taylor Chamberlain, a bunch of big name dog trackers, Jeremy Moore, Dog Bone Training, another guy, Brian, in the Prey and Bloodhound. He's got this awesome tracking dog. So I've been in deer recovery for a number of years now too. But anyway, I'll let you move it forward, and we'll just sort of bounce it back and forth as you lead it.
Yeah, no, it's great. So, I think that the flow, what I want to do is I'd like to, first want to introduce you to our listeners. And then from there, we'll touch on the Bowhunters Association. I'm interested to talk about that because we're big bow hunters, and it's getting to be that time of year here in Pennsylvania where they're starting to chase a little bit.
Yeah, we're getting some rut action over Hot Springs Village.
Yeah, I've been I had a little bit of success earlier on, in the season, early in the season, and I've been trying to just be patient, until the rut, because I got my eyes on one. And in the past, I'm not one of those guys that picks a deer out and holds out for that buck.
Yes,
I'm a meat hunter.
I'm a meat hunter too. Yeah.
But, I got eyes on one right now. And so I've been trying to just pace myself, but it's that time of year. November is upon us.
I killed a 148 in Kansas. So, that may be the buck of my life. And I'm back to my 16-year-old Brown and Dow days.
I'd be happy with a 148. I'm happy. I killed unofficial, probably about the 118 last year.
Oh, that's awesome, man. They're all awesome.
And I'm happy with that.
Yeah. I come back after that hunt in Kansas and killed an 8 and a 6. I was just as happy to shoot those deer as I was that 148. I mean, I always have loved deer hunting from the time, I think I was 14 years old. I killed a double that morning, a couple of does that morning with my dad.
Mm-hmm.
And I was listening to Southern Outdoorsman earlier, and Cajun was talking about him and his boy, in the hunting, and it just stirred memories in me of being with my dad and hunting. Man, it was just it was an emotional touch today. But anyway,
well, those are the memories. That's really what matters. I don't know if how familiar you are with us, but we really just started podcasting and started our posting on YouTube and Instagram and stuff like that, because we have a family camp. We hunt with my dad, I hunt with my brother, and their boys, the next generation. And we have a journal that we keep at the camp.
That's awesome.
So every single hunt, whether we're hunting or whether we're just going up to spend the weekend together, we journal. We journal for the past probably 40 years. Every entry, there's the truth. Depends on who wrote the journal entry, what the truth is, But, my nephews and I, we started just taking a lot more pictures and posting things. And I thought, man, why don't we just get on and tell some of these stories? And because anybody that does it, just like you, thinking back of your dad and those early memory hunt, that's what it's about. For me, it doesn't matter the size of the deer. It's the smile on your face at the end of the day.
Exactly. Oh, yeah. I mean, I shot a spike last year in Hot Springs Village, and just watching him come down that creek bed. And I mean, man, it's just, people don't understand what hunting means to us. And the trophy challenge, it's extremely difficult archery. And I mean, the rush of it, man, I rode bulls. I got on 191 bulls. I rode hard. I went to a lot of rodeos, Southeast Circuit mainly. I rode at Mesquite. That's televised on TNN. So I mean, adrenaline rush, man, I would have never believed that bow hunting could be the adrenaline rush it is. I love it, man. I told my buddy James Wood, he won in Georgia State. He used to go to rodeos with me. As a kid, he was real sticky, a lot of try, and I would see him in practice pins. I started taking him to road. End up senior year, but we started going to rodeos and stuff, and I got back into touch with him. Jason Semkoviak, he's from Michigan. I started following his stuff online. Traditional Archery and Wilderness Podcast was his old channel. I think it's now Samco Bows or something like that. But started following Jason, and just fast forward, he moves down to Georgia, man, and he becomes friends. I'm watching his YouTube channel, Patreon, and my buddy James Wood is on there boning out a hog. So I got to get back in touch with James, and our lives have paralleled so much crazy. He's got tracking dogs. He's got the Texas Lacey's deer recovery. I do Bavarian Mountain Scenthound is my breed, but here we are bow hunting and with tracking dogs, and we're YouTubers. I mean, I don't have a big following of mine, but mine's just basically introing people to bow hunting. That's basically my focus. Is
everybody can teach somebody something. Yeah, we all have something to learn, and so put it out there. But I mean, that's how I found you, because you were posting stuff, and I just commented on one of your posts one day, and that's how we connected originally. So
our camo space is it's really neat. We can put all our stuff on there, So out of this deal, we got a TV channel now, and I got some buddies going to go on this TV channel. Off the Clock with B. Scott, been on their YouTube podcast a couple of times. Me and Clifton Denny went on there. On Your Own Outdoors is his YouTube channel. He's got a really big following. He does a lot of stuff for bow hunters and reviews and all that kind of stuff, But just connecting everybody. It's a big family of friends, and we're all, I don't care, how anyone hunts. That's one of the things they want to talk about, what kind of broadhead you need to use and what kind of bow you need to shoot. You shoot what makes you happy, and you hunt the way that makes you happy. Legal, 100%. Safe, 100%. But, people, I like a compound. I mean, I need all the help I can get. and it's hilarious, because I was in them comments, dude, they make me so mad.
Can't read the comment. Don't give too much weight to the comments.
Exactly. And I was like, these traditional guys, and God bless them, but they act like they're Navy SEALs and bow hunter. I said, no, you're not going to pull that junk on me no more, because I see how many of you failed our test this year.
Well, that's it. You qualify these guys whenever they go urban hunting. So
I qualify them. So I seen how many of them failed. Like, no, you're not gonna intimidate me anymore.
Yeah, we touch on some of those. I'm with you. We touch on some of those topics. I mean, I've got family. There's guys in the family that shoot a crossbow. Yeah. And that's not my deal. I'm a compound hunter, so I'm not full traditional.
Yeah.
But whatever, whatever is going to improve. Because for me, the big thing is I want to see people involved with the conservation and just get outdoors. Nature is your playground. Enjoy the what God's created here for us, and so hunt your hunt the way you want to hunt it.
100%. That's right.
So,
and if someone's not, you have to enjoy what you're doing. You know what I'm saying? You want to hang around people that know what they're talking about, and that don't pull you down. I hunt by myself a lot now. So many people have different attitudes and different, I like to go. When I want to go in the woods, I go in the woods. When I want to come out, I come out. I'm not having to pacify anybody, change diapers, or pull up, or give somebody a pacifier. But I just hunt and it's nice, man. Just be in the woods, enjoying birds and squirrels and armadillo and raccoons, and just seeing God's creation and enjoying being in the woods is awesome, man.
Yeah, I think we all feel the same way about that. So, well, let's get into it, Otis. Why don't you just tell me a little bit about the Bowhunters Association down there in Arkansas, how you got involved, and I'll let you just give the overview of that mission of that organization.
Yes, sir. Okay, so as I said, shooting the 3D tournaments. I got involved with the Arkansas Bowhunters Association. They have the urban deer management. There's about 6 cities. We had 7. One of them broke off from us, I think a year or 2 ago. Hot Springs Village. I still hunt over there and everything. But getting into urban deer management, there's different cities will reach out to us. I'm coming into one of them right now, Russellville, Arkansas. is one of our cities. But there was about 6 cities we still control the urban hunt zone. So if a city has a lot of deer auto collisions, and I went to Pope County, which is Russellville, I went to the Pope County dispatcher, 911 dispatcher, and got her to print me off deer auto collisions, and I marked every one of those where they were at. It's pretty interesting to see correlation of where these deer hit at, and the blocks of woods and hourglasses coming up, funnels coming across roads and stuff like that. But
right.
Anyway, these cities, if they have a lot of deer auto collisions, or if these nice subdivisions have a lot of landscape damage, they will reach out to Arkansas Bowhunters Association. They have tried to, take tranquilizer guns and sterilize deer. That will never work. It costs about $1,500 a deer with man hours and all that kind of stuff. And as you can imagine, cops wondering, you have to, deer activity is a lot of times pretty high at night. So you'd be out there at nighttime with spotlights and tranquilizer guns, and the animosity there is toward a lot of police officers in this hour, which I appreciate. I appreciate law and order, but just saying that it could be a bad scenario. So the only real way to any city council all of them would agree to spay and neuter animals. You know what I'm saying? Spay and neutering is awesome. You have to have some sort of way to control a population. The only way to control the population with a whitetail herd is euthanize. My little motto for my deal, licensed archery management, is sterilization by euthanasia. There's only one way to do it, man. You have
That'll do it.
You got to take out some of those deer, and so we'll never eradicate the deer herd. That would be an impossibility, especially with archery. But we can curb some of those numbers and make it to where deer and people can cohabit. We can live together in our subdivisions and stuff.
So is that the main mission of the Bowhunters Association itself? Because I know
we have 3 tournaments a year. So I mean, if someone followed our platform, it's going to make them the best bow hunter that they can be, because we have 3 tournaments a year. The third weekend in March, we have our first tournament, and then we have a Memorial Day tournament, and then right before bow season kicks off for the normal archers in Arkansas, that's around the third week, September 25th, usually somewhere around there is when the Arkansas bow hunter season starts for everybody else. But for us, we get to start from September 1st to February, to the end of February 28th. So we get 6 full months we can bow hunt here. And, so we would make somebody the best bow hunter they can be. We're going to, so let's just back up and start from the beginning. If you wanted to join up with Arkansas Bowhunters, you would go online to our website, arkansasbowhunters.org. You would click the tab, go to the Urban Hunt link. Once you go to the Urban Hunt link, you'll see Urban Hunts. You're going to go to IBEP if you want to hunt with a crossbow, or ICEP. You click that link, you go take that course online. It's just going to take you as if you knew nothing about hunting in your elementary. Your dad didn't hunt. Your family didn't hunt. No uncle took you. You don't know anything about it. It's going to take you talk about hypothermia. It's going to talk about safety, and all that kind of stuff. You're going to go through that online course. Once you pass the online course, that gets you a voucher for a field day. So we'll have about 4 different field days here in Arkansas, which is a proficiency test. You come to those field days in person, and we're going to go over Urban Hunt Protocol. We have a game warden, is a friend of mine, Ralph Maker. He works for Arkansas Game and Fish. He's actually a deer biologist, and he's interested in this urban hunting, program. We donate our first deer that we killed to them. Arkansas big number is a large deer. If it's a smaller deer, you wait till you kill a decent sized deer. But so we work hand in hand with Game and Fish, of course, to make everything. It's got to be legal. We got our own urban deer tag, so you can kill unlimited deer here. It's a really awesome program. But the gist of what we do is to make you the best bow hunter you can be, and we work with urban deer management.
Yeah, and so you answered my next question, which was how to get involved. Do you put a cap on how many members you guys have, or you just got to
No,
qualify?
sir. No, sir. No, sir. We don't. And you can shoot as many deer as you have tags in your pocket. You have to have those tags in your pocket. If you've got 3 tags in your pocket, then you can only shoot 3 deer that day. You go to the police department, or you may have to go to the fire department. It depends on what city where they have the tags at. You get you some more tags, and you go back to the woods. I mean, we can kill as many deer as we want over here, and we still have a thriving deer population. I think ABA donated about 300, I think it was 2 years ago, 300 deer to Arkansas hunters feeding the hungry. So that's just tip of the iceberg on what we actually kill as far as deer numbers.
Yeah, and then so you had touched on this. You told me, in our previous conversation, you guys take what you harvest, and some of that meat goes to feeding the hungry, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. The first deer you're supposed to donate to Arkansas hunters feeding the hungry, but if it's a small deer, they want, of course, a larger size deer. They have to pay.
Sure.
They pay for the processing, so we don't have to pay for the processing. You just take your deer. We have a refrigerated cooler, and you take that deer, you put it in that refrigerated cooler. One of our cities, you have to actually debone the deer because it's a CWD zone. So
sure, we have that up here. Yeah.
So you have to debone your deer before you leave there. But like hunting Hot Springs Village, you don't have to do that. There's a couple of cities, Hot Springs Village, as I said, they broke off and they do their own deal. I still work with them, and I previewed their platform before they put it out there, and they've done it on their own before. But I'm good friends with those guys too. So Hot Springs Village, they have POA property that you can hunt over there. And so there's a lot of places you don't have to door knock. I'm not big on door knocking. I really don't have time to door knock, or I should say I don't take the time to go door knock. I don't really like that. So Hot Springs Village, there's properties over there I can hunt, and there's also properties at Fairfield Bay that I can hunt. FFBCI, Fairfield Bay Community Property, you can hunt those over there, so you don't have to also over there, you don't have to do a bunch of door knocking. It's just, I have an app called Spartan Forge, and I can go on that app and see who owns the property. I can highlight that property that I have permission to hunt it. And so I can go in an area and I basically see all the different places I got in that area that I can hunt.
So what happens, I mean, I've done a little bit of urban hunting, but not a lot of it. And, talk to me about this scenario or this setup, because you're always going to have people, especially when you're getting into subdivisions and stuff, that are not friendly to hunters.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? And then you have other families that want rid of the deer population because they're destroying the flower beds and, eating the pansies and that sort of thing. So give me a story here. Tell me what that's like. How do you handle, or how do you educate hunters to handle those situations where you run into that unfriendly homeowner, or frankly, if you get a hit on an animal, and they're not, when you're bow hunting, that animal doesn't drop, it runs a little bit. So
exactly.
Talk to me about that.
Okay. All right. Well, a lot of times in our mind, when we think about a new job or a new scenario, we're in our mind, we will work ourselves up into a frenzy about what all could happen. Of all the years that I've been doing this, I've only had one bad experience, and this was what it was. I was in my stand, and I wasn't too far from where my truck was parked, and this dude, I'm nowhere near any houses, and this dude parks in the middle of the road, not far from where I'm hunting, and gets out slamming his door over and over. That's the worst scenario, and all I did was just let him go on. It wasn't
sure.
Night time. I had one other incident where a guy just kept riding his bicycle. I was hunting in an area where there was a loop all the way around me, and it was a fairly big loop, but he just kept riding his bicycle around and around. I actually wasn't hunting that day. I was setting up my stand, and so I went out and told him, "Hey, I know Todd, this is property owners only. We have the right to be in there." So there's hunter harassment. If people are harassing you, you call the cops. And you can call the game warden, either one, but the cops are going to get there faster. I have not had any bad scenarios really happen. A couple of little things, but
Sure.
not anything real bad. I'm friends with those guys. I don't go out of my way to make trouble. I don't slam my doors and try to make a bunch of racket and talk like a loud mouth. They tell us, I don't necessarily agree with this, but they don't want us wearing camo all over the place, especially if it's bloody.
Sure.
They want you to come. They want you to fly under the radar. And even Lee Ellis, I've been in his course, Seek 1. He teaches you that you want to stay under the radar. If we go in there and we cause problems, it can get shut down. You don't know who you're dealing with. It could be a millionaire in there. And Hot Springs Village is pretty ritzy. So you don't want to go in there and just tick people off. You want to stay out of the way. Try to, bite your tongue and, just hunt. If someone's causing you problems in an area, we have all kind of acres we can hunt over there. Like, I think Fairfield Bay's about 9,000 acres altogether. So why waste your time on somebody that's got a problem? Go hunt somewhere else. We got plenty. So that's the one side of it. Now, the other side, to answer the question you're asking me, the other side of that is if you shoot a deer and it goes on someone else's property, you have to get permission to go and retrieve that deer. Arkansas is not a right to retrieve state, so that can be. But technically, we're only there to kill the deer. So if you go there and you shoot a deer and you know it's dead, and if they won't let you retrieve them, which I don't know of anybody, maybe one person that has told me they were not allowed to retrieve their deer. And technically, what they say is, if you call the cops and the game warden, then if the game warden will be on your side, he actually can make them, because of wanton waste, he can make them buy a license and recover that deer themselves if they don't want you, because that deer has to be recovered. And the authority that the game wardens have, they're pretty powerful folks.
Yeah. And I'm just thinking, as you were responding to the question about like the difference between just people down south and, I'm in the Northeast here in Pennsylvania, and most people are easygoing and want to get along. And like you said, they're not going to give you no trouble. But when you get into some of these, higher end neighborhoods and things like that up here, you have very opinionated people, so it's interesting, just the demographic difference from
which
down there.
Like Hot Springs Village has people from all over the nation that retire there. It's very ritzy. There's so they have like 7 golf courses. They have about 7 lakes you can fish, and all kind of POA land. When I'm talking about city, we're not talking about downtown Atlanta. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
It's sort of rural. It's got there's all kind of wooded acres and wooded lots through there. So it's not like you're, and I try, you don't really want to get too close to houses anyway, because, there's situations that go on. You don't want really a kid to see you shoot a deer. You know what I'm saying? It's not traumatic. They see way worse stuff on Hollywood every day. If we're going to get worried about something, we probably should be worried about that rather than, it's just a way of life. If anybody eats chicken nuggets, I work for Sanderson Farms. Them chickens roll in there at 3 and 4 in the morning. They're slicing their throat. There's like a river of blood running through there. So anybody that eats so much as a chicken nugget can say nothing about what we do. We try to be ethical. We try to make good shots and have clean, ethical kills. And, it doesn't always happen that way. There's a lot of things that can go on with bow hunting. There's deflection. And there's just,
that's bow hunting.
Exactly. The reaction time of that deer, especially if it's keyed up, and it takes years to learn this stuff. Bow hunting it seems to me like a never-ending lesson,
Well, we're always learning. That's entirely true, because we're always, whether, it's just even me talking with you, like I'm picking up on things that, you're saying that maybe I hadn't thought of. We all have different perspectives, and I learned a lot through doing things the wrong way.
Yes, sir.
So what are some of the
I'm gonna get these glasses on, man. The sun.
You're on the road, man. Do what you got to do.
I'm listening to you.
What are some of the, when because you're, as the Bowhunters Association, you're preparing guys to go out and do these type of hunts. You're qualifying them so that they can have, hunt ethically and shoot ethically and have clean kills. I'm sure there are like safety considerations and public perception we talked on and things of that nature. Like, what are the things that you go through to set a guy up or a gal up to go do this?
Okay, so what I was talking about, the urban hunt protocol, initially
Right.
what I was wanting to do with the ABA was to be a field governor. And so the field governors at the urban hunts, so with the urban hunts, you come in, Ralph Meeker, he will talk to you about the urban deer hunt protocol, any changes. So he goes over the whole spiel with everybody, just like it's your first time, and any changes that are made that year, he'll go over those changes also. And then after that, we take you. I have an intro to bow hunting that I've got on Vimeo, but I haven't rolled it over to my YouTube channel. At ABAVP23 is my YouTube channel. I have not put it on my YouTube channel yet, but the intro to bow hunting, I got a lot of those clips on there. So we go over stand setup, stand safety, such as lock-ons, such as climbers, and ladder stands. We show people how to properly and safely set up a ladder stand, how to position your lock-on and your sticks, and then also how to use a climber safe and effective.
Right.
And we go over that. Then we go over blood trailing. I usually do the blood trailing portion of it. I do deer recovery, and I had tracking dogs, raise and train tracking dogs. Bloodtrailing.com is my website. But I got a Bavarian Mountain Scenthound right now that I'm working with, and he's recovered 6 so far. He's showing a lot of potential. I'm really loving him. But so we go over urban hunt protocol. We go over blood trailing, and shot placement. We talk about that a little bit in some of our stuff. But that's basically it. We go over just stand set up, blood trailing, and then you go to the woods, and then we have a proficiency test. So once you do the online course, you never have to do the online course again. If you're going to hunt with a bow, you never have to do the bow hunting course. If you want to hunt with a crossbow, that's a separate course. You have to take that. So you take those courses, get that out of the way, then that gives you your field day. You come take your field day with us, then you have to do a proficiency test. You never have to do the online or the field day ever again, but you do have to do the proficiency test every year, which is basically, we have some double, we got the bag targets. You have to make 3 double lung shots. So we give you 1 chance to do it. You fire 3 arrows. If any is outside of the double lung area, then we give you 1 more chance to fire 3 arrows. If you fail that, if you fail it the second time, you don't get to urban hunt with us that year. So, which sometimes there's an exception. If a guy's shooting a really awesome group, you know what I'm saying? He's a little above the line. Sometimes we make a little bit of exceptions, but it's just a way that we can, know that people aren't just going to be flinging arrows everywhere.
Well, they're going out there and they're representing your organization. You're putting your name behind them, right?
Yeah, we don't want anybody getting hurt. We've been doing this over 20 years now. When I talked about on Off the Clock with B. Scott, I said 20 years initially, what it was. And when, the next podcast, Bowhunters Feeding Community, Dwayne Spangler talks about, we've been doing it 17 years, but they did it 2 or 3 years as a test pilot to see if it was going to be okay and if it was going to work out. And once they saw that it was going to be good and safe for everybody, then, but out of 20 years, we have never injured one person. We've never injured anyone's child. We've never injured anyone's dog or cat. When you're bow hunting in the woods, you know what you're shooting at. And it's basically, about the size of a basketball. You're shooting at that double lung area.
Yeah.
That's even more specific than just shooting at a deer. We're shooting at basically pick a spot is the big bow hunter lingo. It's an area that we're shooting at on that animal.
We always say something about the size of a paper plate, and that's your goal.
Exactly. Yes, sir.
Well, what kind of advice would you give to, you got a young woman who wants to get into urban hunting, and urban hunting is certainly different than, hunting in the big woods.
Yes, sir.
It's another element to it, but like what advice would you give to somebody that's looking to get involved in something like that?
I think really that it's a good place to start, into your hunting journey. There's just so much you have to learn with bow hunting and to get comfortable with setting up, however you hunt. We don't talk about saddle hunting because it's not necessarily approved by the National Deer Stand Association, whatever that safety lingo acronym is for that. So we don't talk about, but I saddle hunt, and a lot of my buddies saddle hunt, which I hang sticks in a tree, and then I just hang from my saddle. you're attached to the tree all the way up, basically, and all the way down. I'm 51 years old. When I was a kid, we hunted in climbers. A safety harness, man. We had no idea what a safety harness was. We jumped in our climber and went up a tree. But
I know it.
51 at 24, I got put in a coma. So when I was a kid, I was pretty fearless. But when you get to be 51 and to be a fat old man like me,
I don't move like I used to.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
I hold my own pretty good until I start going uphill or I got to drag a deer out.
I ain't as good as I once was.
That's right.
But I tell you, man, as you get older, I want my grandson to remember me. My grandfather, I was probably about 10 when he passed away, and I remembered him. Had great memories of my grandfather. I want my grandson to remember me. The hunt, the memories with my dad, the family memories. I mean, if someone doesn't hunt, I would definitely encourage them to. It's just an awesome time to be in the field with your family, the one-on-one time. Get away from the stinking games, man. You know what I'm saying? These kids are glued to, their Xboxes, and my boy plays them. But I mean, man, if we can, it's just such a bond there, and the memories. This guy was listening to Southern Outdoors. I think I told you about that earlier. And this Cajun that was just on there recently he got choked up talking about his boy killing a turkey and what it means for your family. And as my boy started getting a little older, it meant so much more to me to see him harvest an animal than it did for me myself. It just, those times together, the excitement of it. It's just, man.
I know.
I was.
It reminds me because, you get excited for these guys.
Oh, yeah.
I say the next generation. My brother, I got a brother and a sister, and they each got boys. They like to hunt. And they were out hunting last week, and I was home. I didn't go up to camp. And but I'm getting a text message, one of us shot. And I get excited. Like, I'm getting up for that. I'm like, send me pictures. And then I hear oh, no, we missed. And then I get down. And then I get another the other one's like, hey, I took a shot. I got a shot at one. And I get up again. It's like an emotional roller coaster. But awesome. You want to see them do better than you. I'm just as happy, when those young guys come into the cabin, they come back to camp, and they're telling their stories. Versus hearing our story. Our stories are old, man. Everybody's heard our stories a time or two. I want them making new stories.
Yeah, my boy, he killed his first year. I think he was either 7 or 9. I can't remember. He was way younger than me. I think he was 9 years old. He thinks he was 7, but he was sitting between my feet on the ladder stand.
Uh-huh.
And he told me he was wanting to get down. It was barely got daylight. He's like, I want to get down, Daddy. And I was like, no, son, we're going to hunt. We was in a real good place in Tennessee, a soybean field. He's like, no, I want to get down. I was like, no. And a little bit later, he's like, I got to pee, Daddy. He said, can I pee? Can I climb down to pee? I said, no.
You got to learn. You're going to have to sit it out.
He got upset about it. And just a few minutes later, here come a doe out. He drilled her, and she dropped in her tracks. A little 7mm 08 he's shooting. He has a very good shot. Shot her, dropped her in tracks. Then he turned 10 that year, and he was hunting in a ground blind on the ground, and I was in a ladder stand up above him. I told him if a small buck comes out, I'll let him shoot it, but if a big boy comes out, it's going to be Daddy's,
Yeah,
so I made a little motion. This buck was coming out in the field. I made a little motion and pointed at him to shoot it, and it come out probably maybe 75 yards and just coming out in the field, turned and made a beeline right to John, turned broadside about 40 yards, and he nailed it. So, I mean, those memories, man. I mean, and Nathaniel, the oldest boy, he turned 14, his youth hunt, maybe in Tennessee we were over there. I think he was 13 or 14. Nathaniel got to kill his first deer. He shot a doe that morning, I believe, in a 6-point that evening. It was really awesome, just seeing the kids kill deer, man. It's my daughter only hunted with me once, but she enjoyed it. She got a shot at one, and she was all shook up and breathing heavy. It's pretty fun. But my granddaughter Brianna, she's saying she wants to go hunting with me. So they're getting to the age now where won't be long they'll be able to get in the stand with Pawpaw and have some good memories of hunting with me. Hopefully before I get out of here, man.
Take a lot of pictures.
Yeah.
Remember those stories are in the memory bank for sure. But do what you can to document that, to pass it on so they can tell those stories. Because there's nothing better than the next generation looking through the photo album or that journal that I was telling you about, and saying, "Hey, tell me about this story." And there ain't nothing like it.
That's it. When I go in someone's house and they have the deer on the wall, I want the story on every one of them, man. And John Eberhardt, I'm sure you know him. I got his phone number, and they did an article on him not long ago, and I got to call and ask him. He's got one buck on the wall that is very small, but I want the story on that buck, man. And what's so crazy is he's got all these monsters on the wall, but I got to know what's the deal with that little buck, man.
Our cabin's got we got deer antlers on two parallel walls, opposite side of the room from one another. And, there's only a few really, really nice deer on the wall. That's like the big wall. And then if it's an average buck or a small buck, it's on the main wall. And, man, we got some tiny bucks on that one wall. You know what I mean? And, what we'll do is, we might hit them with a little fluorescent paint or something like that so you can see it, or take a bright orange pencil and put it in the fork, so nobody misses it. But there's a story that goes with all of them.
Oh, yes, sir. The memories, man, it's just so awesome. I've killed four this year already. Two with my bow and two with my muzzleloader. So I'm going to be cutting up deer meat probably a good bit of the day Friday, and then I'm going to try to get back in the woods Friday evening and maybe smoke another one Saturday, hopefully.
There you go. Well, we have just as much fun in the butcher shop because we process our own as well.
Oh, yeah.
So we got just as many stories about cutting up, whether it's hogs or whether it's deer, just spending time together in the butcher shop. Yeah, that's a lot of fun too.
He killed, I think he might have been around 9 when he killed one. I made him, debone it basically off the rail and debone it. I mean, it's been so long ago, man. But he's 20. He'll be 23 in a few days now. He's going to Branson, I think, this next weekend. But November 6th is his birthday, so. But he said he's got one in my house on the ice chest right now. He killed with his father-in-law. He said he's gonna supposed to debone. He wants to debone that one himself. Well, I think it's already deboned, but he wants to, cut it up and package it and all. So I thought that's good. I got plenty enough to cut up myself. I really don't want to do his.
Yeah, I bet. After the first couple, it's it gets old.
Yes, sir.
But, well, listen, tell me a little bit about the Red Rock here real quick before I know you're on the road. I don't want to keep you too long.
Oh, man, I'm good. I'm going all the way to Fort Smith, so I think I still got quite a ways to go. But and I'll be on the road for quite a while. But before I get into the dog, I'd like to talk about, shot placement, first of all.
Yeah, go right tear into it.
And really not necessarily on shot placement, but because without showing you a diagram, that really is, sort of irrelevant, but you need to know a deer's anatomy. But what I like to talk about is in the moment, because when that moment happens and you connect on that deer, it is such a rush, and you have to pay attention in that moment. You have to pay attention to exactly where that deer goes, all the noises associated with it. Do you hear it go down? You have to focus in that moment after you make the shot, probably more than any other time. You know what I'm saying? You want to focus.
We say fog of war is a real thing.
Exactly, because and it's been rifle hunting. I mean, if you shoot a deer, I got a rangefinder in my scope, a Pierce Eliminator. I shoot a 300 Win Mag. So, man, hunting them soybean fields in Tennessee, a buck can be running a doe 200 yards, and all of a sudden it's 325 yards. So that rangefinder, I don't like fighting with it. So anyway, long story short, if you know exactly how far that deer is, if you range it when you shoot it, then you know where to start looking for that blood trail, especially if it's on a road or on a trail, when you shoot it. But so anyway, just paying attention in that moment. Where did the deer go? What way did it run? What was the sound like? Did you hear it crash? Usually you will hear them thrashing. So you want to pay attention in that moment. Try to mark everything you can in your mind, and pay close attention to what's going on. And then moving on to dogs, I recommend once you make that shot, if you can't, you try to follow the blood trail. It depends on where you hit the deer. There's that whack like sound when you hit the ribs. You're usually always going to hit the bone because the deer is hardly ever going to be 100% broadside. So if
Right.
it's tilted any angle at all, you're going to crack a rib. So you're usually going to hear that, or if you hear that flop, like when it hits the belly. I shot one last year, and I was like, that didn't sound good. It was that thwop sound, and I knew I was back. So you want to pull off, back out of there, and when in doubt, back out's the cliche. You want to back out there and give your deer time to expire. If you made a gut shot, that can be up to 12 hours. And I do enough deer recovery that no one has to tell me statistics. I see what happens. If you start jumping a deer, you're lessening your odds. The more times you jump it, if you jump it twice, it's probably going to run until it drops, and they can cut. They're so fast and strong, how much ground they can cover. So you're really shooting yourself in the foot if you go out there and jump the deer up. But anyway,
it's absurd how like strong they are and resilient they are. So yeah, you definitely don't want to jump them because that deer might be 75 yards from the stand, but if it gets up, it'll run a mile.
Oh yeah, and especially if he's been laying down, you're going to have blood to that bed. If he's been in that bed a long time and that blood starts drying and caking, or his guts get in that hole to where it plugs it up, then you're starting out again with no blood, and that's it's almost an impossibility to trail a deer without some sign, especially before you get a dog. So you can recommend doing a grid search. Most of the apps like Onyx, Spartan Forge. I like Spartan Forge a lot. You can grid off an area. Jason Sam Kobiak said he had a real good video on his Patreon the other day about what he will do is, like, at last blood, he will walk 50 yards this way, 50 yards this way, and 100. He will make 100 yards square, and then he will walk that off in that grid, and you can see where you have walked on your, looking at your map. You can see exactly where you've been, and if there's an area that was wide that you didn't get into, you want to get into, you want to look. Sometimes they say water. Sometimes they will run to water. Sometimes they'll go to brush piles and stuff like that. I think in a deer's mind, they've had to survive with predators all their life. So in his mind, he's hurt. So you have to think about what is going on in that deer's mind. He's hurt, and he knows something is after him. So the way that they have evaded animals in the past, like if a deer gets in water, he can run down that creek bed a while, come back out, circle back down, go back in the creek. That they learn tactics. That the coyotes have run them probably 50 or 60 miles by the time, you know what I'm saying. I don't have statistics on it, but those deer,
but it makes sense though. Like they're going to run downhill.
Exactly.
They're going to try to, and their survival instinct.
Exactly.
When they got to run, they run, but they're made to blend in. Like they're not a predator.
Yeah, and they learn tricks that will evade predators. So they know something has hurt them. They may get in water and run a while. I mean, there's no telling what the deer that went in water, and I'm trying to go to things. We found them in ditches. They anyway, like I say, grid it off. Do everything the deer. There's a lot of tractors. Don't do that. You're going to ruin the hunt. There are bloodhounds, man, that you can take them. You can take cops do this. They'll do training scenarios with these bloodhounds. They'll take them to a mall. They'll have this guy's scent. That dog can track through a mall, through a hotel, through a concert, up a staircase, and then to an apartment. There's all kind of scent on the ground everywhere. He's not tracking all kind of scent. He's not tracking everybody. When you have a tracking dog, he's after that one scent. I got a Chip Dally that I'm probably about to get back right now. And the first time the dude shot a buck, he didn't even know she would track a deer. And he called his boy up there. It was a 10-point he shot. She came with him, and all of a sudden they noticed she's over there chewing on something on the ground. They went over there, it was blood. She trailed that buck down for them, 10 point. That was their first deer, and he said her longest track, I think she had recovered maybe about 9 for him, maybe. Numbers all run together for me, but her best track was over 2 miles. And he said they had shot the deer running dogs the night before. They tried to find it. They had the dogs, but they were picking up the dogs. It was getting evening, nighttime. The night before they shot it. So 16 to 18 hours later is what he told me it was when they got her back on the track. She weeded through all that, trailed that deer over 2 miles. He said 2.25, maybe 2.5 miles, and nailed that track down. So it's not that people are ruining. You can take a dog in there after other people have been in there with their dogs, and you can still recover that deer. I got a buddy, Skeeter Snell, that I got my Bavarian off of. He goes on track. His dog has had multiple recoveries over 70 hours old. He sent me the pictures of the carcasses after the coyotes had worked them over. So, and we're talking about other dogs have been on those tracks. Other hunters have been all over the place. It's the dog. And I'm not saying my dog's going to recover every deer, but I've had 2 dogs that nearly every deer that we went on, either we recovered it or it showed back up on trail camera. So I train off the interdigital gland. Your buddy was talking to me. We're talking to him about, I'll start out puppies. If I'm working with just a young puppy, I'll start them out with like Vienna sausages. The dude that taught me is Paul Couchet. He's a Cajun out of South Louisiana, and Louisiana Dog Trailing for Blood Trailing is his website. Louisiana Dog Training for Blood Trailing is his Facebook page. Getting in too big of a hurry, but he's the one that taught me. You take those Vienna sausage, take you a little pinch of it off, and dribble it right there, and you dribble that juice across the ground, and you leave the rest of the sausage at the end of that trail. Say 10, 15 paces. That little dog, man, he'll get out there and he'll nail it down. Once a dog learns to use his nose, and when I'm bringing puppies up, I use food as a motivator. Like I have a whelping area. I will go out there at night. I don't starve the dogs. So, people hear this, oh man, you're cruel, you starve. I feed the dogs every day. I will feed them maybe some in the morning, then in the evening and at nighttime. I will go out there and I will throw some food out in their kennel. So they have to find that food with their nose. So already I'm teaching those puppies to use your nose, and they learn how to use their nose. And some of those pups have turned out, man, just unbelievable. We lose track with people we sell dogs to, but it's pretty cool watching those dogs once they learn how they have a nose, and then you have a process that you go through with training them. But getting on the Red Rock, I work with him with some blood trailing. I send him to obedience. I think obedience is huge. If you can't control the dog, then you just end up having a nightmare, man. And that was one of the reasons why I got away from bloodhounds. They don't have the trainability that a lot of other dogs. It has to be a extreme strong repetition, or they have to have like a phenomenal background of bloodline. You know what I'm saying? Of really phenomenal tracking dogs. But when you're just working with a typical bloodhound, it's a lot of repetition. So the Bavarian Mountain Scenthound, Texas Lacey's, there's a number of even mini Dachshunds are some really good tracking dogs. You want to look a little manly when you get out of the truck.
Sure, yeah. You don't want the little wiener dog.
You get out with a Yorkie.
But they'll do the job. I mean, that's the thing. Like these dogs, their sense of smell is incredible compared to we can't even fathom how good their noses are.
So the Bavarian's what I'm working with now in Red Rock. I sent him to obedience school first. I got him from Skeeter Snell, transported him back to Arkansas, sent him to obedience school. And I work with them a lot with mock tracks, interdigital. So you can start out with a Vienna sausage, doing drags like that, tie a string around it, drag it, leave the sausage at the end, and then I'll dribble that juice out, and then I'll take that can back inside. You still have 5 or 6 of those sausages.
Yep.
I'll fill it up with water again, put a napkin on top of it so that will saturate, and put it back in the refrigerator. Put the little lid back on it. Try to keep all that saturated, let that water saturate, so I can do that 5 or 6 times with a puppy and just get it used to. At the end of the trail, there's a reward. You do that over and over, and then you start. Once you get past that, you can go into liver drags. Liver, and if you can't get deer liver, you can save deer liver, as you're hunting this year. or you can get beef liver from a store. Liver's a liver. There's something about the scent of it is really easy tracking for a dog, and it motivates them. So you can do liver drags. You can do a 15 paces. Then you can the next day do 15 paces and make a right turn, 15 paces, and just the dog has to just learn scenarios. So
Sure.
you do a 90, then you do a C-shaped arch for 75 paces, and then you start. Once you do that, you will start like progressing the track. Like you run a 1 hour track, let the scent blow out for an hour. You know what I'm saying? Then the next day, do a 2 hour track, go to a 4 hour, go to just keep multiplying. Go to 8, and 16. Then you go to overnight.
That was one of my questions was, when you were talking about earlier, like some of these, your buddy's dogs that have, 72 hours later, they come in and they recover the deer. Like what's an ideal time? I mean, so I'm thinking, I put myself in a scenario where I hit a deer. It's not a good hit. I back out, I give it overnight. I'll come back in the morning. So like if I'm hunting that evening and I come back the next morning, it's at least, 8 or 9, 10 hours. What's ideal though?
Ryan Kirby has a very good video on it, and Jason Sam Kobe also. There's a number of big YouTubers on wait times. There's different opinions. My buddy Clifton Denny, he said, if he knows he makes a liver shot or a gut shot, he's going to give it 5 hours. That shot I made on that deer last year, and so like a lot of times you can tell by the color of the blood what kind of shot you made. If there's stomach matter, that's a gut shot. Liver has its own smell. I grew up, catfishing, chicken liver.
That'll work.
Taylor Chamberlain, he calls it a metallic smell. I don't know how you can have, but that's the best description you can give it. If you don't know what liver smells like, go to the chicken livers and smell those. Go get you a beef liver. That liver has a liver smell. It's got a bite to it. I don't really know I don't know the word. I guess there's really not a word in the English language. I remember in Iraq, they were talking in their language and there was no word for bum blast. I guess there's really not a word to describe the smell of liver, but once you know what it smells like, you want to smell that arrow. Does it smell like liver? Does it smell like gut? And then look at your blood. But anyway, like I say, that's a whole separate. There's plenty of stuff on YouTube you can do with. But Ryan Kirby, he's got some really good artwork that he does, and he breaks it down really good on wait times. If you make a single lung shot, one of the things about getting real high is you take that risk of a single lung shot. And it can take a deer quite a while to die with that. But if you made a double lung shot and you listen, you're probably going to hear that deer go down. You made a heart shot on one, maybe 75 yards. You can usually go after that deer. If you hear him go down, I like to give him at least an hour. I like to take my stuff back to the truck. I have a meat pack. So, of course, I try to take a lot of my stuff in the woods with me right now where if I shoot one, I can go. I debone my stuff on the ground pretty much where it falls, unless I'm closer to someone's home. Then I want to get the deer away from there so dogs don't get into the deer.
Sure.
But
yeah, I mean, I like that. Whenever I hit one, I like to enjoy it for a moment. So I'm not racing to get out of the stand, whether even it's a good hit or whether it's not. I'm sitting for a while.
If you record your hunts, you can see. Exactly where you did hit that deer a lot of times. And if you shoot lighted knocks, even more so. But if you shoot lighted knocks, you want to practice with lighted knocks because there is a little bit of variation in the weight of a lighted knock and a normal knock. I don't think it's, astronomical, but it still can make a difference out of 40 yards, so.
Yeah, no doubt.
But, okay, the dogs. Going back to
yes.
tracking dogs, I get to run rabbit trails, man.
It's good because people love hearing stories.
Yeah, if I give you a politician answer, take me back to the question. But like I say, the tracking dogs. As far as the breed, I like the labs a lot. Man, they're just so high strung. know. They got so much energy. Of course, Red Rock, my Bavarian, man, that dog runs nonstop in his kennel. He is so wiry, which is what you want. You know, I mean, bloodhounds will lay around a lot, and I want a dog that's got some drive. You know, you get sometime one of the tracks we went on, I think we were about probably 2.5 miles back in the woods before we ever got to where he shot the deer at. You know, so if you get a bloodhound that far back in the woods, sometimes they're wiped out. You know, I'm not just running the breed down, because there's some guys that's got some good dogs that's got drive and they got good bloodlines. That's a different story. I'm just talking about my personal experiences with bloodhounds. But my Bavarian, he's got an insane drive, and you want that in a dog. A dog has to have prey drive, and you can increase prey drive. That's some secrets that dog trainers don't want me to give out, but you can YouTube it or something. But
yeah, that's good.
Yeah, but
Brady's working with this. Sorry. I was just going to say he was really interested, and it's a shame he couldn't be with us tonight for this episode, because he's trying to get his dog, which is probably about, I don't know, she might be about a year old by now, but she's a Labrador, and he's been working with her, and he's looking for all the pointers he can get.
Yeah.
But I've always understood, you know, your hunting dog's your hunting dog, and your house pet's your house pet, and it's hard to cross them.
Yeah. Some I got a buddy that he used them. I mean, you know, there's guys that'll train him to do shed hunting and all that. I don't want my dog confused. But I did want to pick up on something that I dropped off on. So we start out with the Vienna sausage, go to the liver track, and then ultimately you want to move to the track and choose. You can do that. There's a couple. You can take some mop handles, and you can there's a YouTube video where you can take PVC sleeves and you can put deer hooves in the bottom of those PVC sleeves. I don't like fighting with all that. I've got some shoes that they make in Germany, and if anybody ever wants to reach out to you about them, I can tell them where to get them. It's in my phone somewhere, and at the Wagasushi, I think it's what they're called, Wagasushi. I call them deer cleats. I like simple, you know.
Yeah.
They're like cleats and they got a groove in the bottom of them that you can bolt a hoof underneath them. So interdigital, you want to use deer that have run about 50 or 60 yards. The University of Auburn did a study on the interdigital gland. So like if a coyote pack splits up a doe and a fawn, that mama doe can go find her fawn by the interdigital gland. It's that deer's like our fingerprint, you know what I'm saying?
Right. Yeah.
So and if a buck comes in a field and he's running 5 or 6 does, he knows which one's in heat by the interdigital gland. When you shoot a deer, there can be 10 of them in the field. 10 deer can go. You can shoot that deer. 10 deer can go through the same hole in the fence, go down the same trail, and is going to track that deer by the interdigital gland. So it's not, you don't want to just teach your dog to track a deer. You want to teach your dog to track a wounded deer, and that wounded deer is going to put off a scent. So the interdigital gland inside between the hooves is a little slit on the top of the hoof. You reach in there with a screwdriver, like a Phillips head screwdriver, dig that wax out, and you rub it on the bottom of the hooves. I got a little clip of it on my YouTube channel. But you rub that on the bottom of the hooves, and then you walk out a trail, you know, and you increase that trail as your dog gets better. You know, you can, as we said, progress in the trail, run a 2-hour track, run a 4-hour track. You never know how long it's going to be before someone calls you. Most of the time, especially in this economy, people are going to exhaust every effort to find that deer before they call the dog. You know?
Yeah, that's true.
So you want to have your dog where he can run 24-hour tracks, because they're going to go, they're going to do everything they can to find it. They're going to call 2 or 3 buddies. They're going to go out there and do everything they can to find it. Then they're going to call the dog, you know. And then, so, you know, your dog it definitely needs to be able to progress to working tracks that are 24 hours old. But I mean, you know, usually I'll get a call on one night, and, you know, if it's a questionable shot, I tell them let's wait till tomorrow and go check it out tomorrow. You know, and I got a network of tracking buddies that those guys run a lot of track calls that I get, because I love to process deer, but you know, and I love tracking dogs and tracking, but I don't want to spend my whole deer season running through the woods tracking everybody else's deer. I love hunting deer, and I got my tracking dog mainly for me, when I shoot something, I don't have to worry about contractor. I can run Red Rock on it, and if he can't get it, which he's recovered every deer I put him on. Every deer that I've shot that I put him on, he's recovered for me. So, of course, when you're a vicious shot like me.
Hey, listen, it's just like just like watching the boys. Yeah, it's just like watching the boys kill deer, and you get hyped up for them. When your dog goes out and finds that track.
That's another tip for your buddy. He wants to keep his dog in the truck in a kennel with him every time he goes to the woods, because the more easy tracks you put that dog on, I don't care if you shoot the deer and you watch it run 40 yards and there's blood everywhere. Don't go.
Might have lost you. It looks like we might have hit a patch with bad reception. We'll see if Otis joins us again here, learning about dog tracking. This is really interesting, and he's laying down a lot of information here. I've never used a dog to track. I've always been the dog. So we'll see if we can get him back. If you guys got any questions or comments, leave a comment down in the comment section. Appreciate everybody that's listening. I hope you're enjoying this episode. So just to recap, we talked through the Arkansas Bowhunters Association, what its mission and goals are, getting involved with and how the association helps to thin out the deer herd in urban populations, and getting other people involved. So feeding the hungry, etc. And that urban bow hunting piece, we talked about the challenges, the benefits, and everything comes in between, and how it differs from traditional bow hunting. So we're hitting dog tracking right now. Otis, are you still with us? I think we may have lost him, folks. So this is what we'll do. We're going to, I'll wrap it up here tonight. See if I can reach out to Otis. I'll get all the links for every single page that he has available. I'll get the links. I'll put them in the comments or the section of the notes for this episode. We'll make it so that you can look him up, find his YouTube channel, follow him if you need to. I'm sure he'll try to call back in here in a few moments, but he's on the road traveling, and you guys, we all know how that is. So technology is great when it works for us. So you can always find out more information. I do think I have the link for the Arkansas Bowhunters Association at the bottom of the screen. I'll put that in the notes. Final thoughts from me are, we just really appreciate the hunting family as general. You can tell it doesn't matter who we talk to. When we talk to them, we have this universal love for hunting and seeing our kids and the next generation embrace it. Younger, new hunters get into it, and there's something that we can learn from one another. So at the end of the day, we'll see if we can wrap this thing up here today. How you can contact us, ton of different ways. Certainly we want to hear from you. So get in touch with us. If you're listening on the podcast, go ahead, and there should be a text us option that's new to the show. I want to see if it works. So send us a text. Even if it's, hey, hunting family, happy hunting. Tell me what you're seeing. Tell me if you had any luck this year. We appreciate it. You can always send an email, your questions, your hunting stories, or feedback to mensooroutdoors@gmail.com. Drop your thoughts and questions or comments into our YouTube channel. We are at Mensor Outdoors, also at Tracks and Tackle. And certainly you can find us on the website at buzzsprout.com. So I'll put all that in there. Appreciate you, hunting family, for tuning in and listening to this episode. I'll catch up with Otis. I'll get all his connections, and we will sync up with you guys next time. I hope you guys have a great November. We're going to hit it hard. I'm about ready to go spend a few weeks in the deer woods. So we'll be in touch. Happy hunting.